meeting to order. Jennifer, could you please do a roll call?
Ms. Bernstein? Ms. Christian?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Ms. Oliver? Ms. Unicol?
Yes.
Ms. Hugh?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Okay, we have a quorum. So first item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to request be taken off of the consent agenda? All right, seeing none and hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, Maura, for the motion. Thank you, Barbara, for the second. Can we please have a roll call?
Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Christian?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Ms. Unicol?
Yes.
Ms. Hugh?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Public comments. I see no public. Anybody when you walk in, Sharon?
I saw no one.
No public. All right, we'll move on to the next item, the staff report. Kate Hall.
Thanks, Jay. So as I put in my report, I will be off next week. My husband and I are doing our annual trip up to visit his family in Michigan. So that should be very fun and relaxing. Kelly is, of course, in charge in my absence. And hopefully it will be, well, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to jinx it, but I hope to come back to no news. Nothing major. And then coming up in just a couple of weeks, it's September, and September is library card sign-up month, so we're doing a number of things to kind of try and bring people back in to get their cards renewed. Now that we'll be doing the national change of address, that will help moving forward. But right now we have a number of people that didn't come get their cards renewed during COVID for obviously, various reasons that we're hoping to entice back in. So we have some fun drawings and are hoping to see those numbers get back up to where they were pre-pandemic. I also wanted to mention, I put this in the report, the Urban Libraries Council did a study on trauma in libraries that just came out a couple months ago, and I put a short version of it in from Publishers Weekly, but this is something that we're seeing, unfortunately, across all of the libraries, whether it's rural, suburban, urban, and is something that is becoming an increasing problem, as I think it is in many, we're not the only unit of local government where we're seeing this, especially after, if we can remember back to when we didn't have a state budget for a couple years and a lot of social service agencies closed. That was a real tipping point for a lot of libraries because we started seeing people coming in here that we needed to help, but there weren't services anymore for them to be going to. And so that really saw a shift, and then the pandemic definitely exacerbated that. And we're continuing to see that as, of course, additional traumas like the July 4th event are layered on. So, we're always looking for ways that we can help staff with that. We offer an employee assistance program. We think about, encouraging people to take time off when they're sick. But that is something that is very much front of mind. And as I think we're hopefully approaching a place where we're now going to be able to see kind of just how much the pandemic has impacted us. We've been seeing a lot of people just being sick, like normal sick, not COVID sick. And I think it's because it's, everything is catching up. So just something to be aware of, not anything to really do, but I thought that report was really interesting because it really reflects a not great, but important to note, broader trend that's happening in libraries. So, and I should have ended with my vacation. That would have been a happier way to end. But I'm also happy to answer any questions anyone has on anything in my report.
So CBS this morning, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, had a segment, this is on Sunday morning, not this morning, but had a segment on libraries. And one of the things that they commented on is that some of the urban libraries are starting to hire social services people in order to address some of what you just raised in terms of the libraries. And I think there was one on Austin, I've forgotten the other cities where they were interviewing the librarians, but that was the point that they were making.
Yeah, and that has definitely been something that a number of libraries here are doing, very much focused on serving the patrons. We're very fortunate. The police department here has an excellent team of social workers that we coordinate and talk with regularly. So if we have a patron that we're like, there seems to be something going on, they'll often be aware of it. And so we'll, Kelly talks to Nancy Vaccaro, who's the head social worker over there. And so that's a great relationship. The things that have been happening have been more focused on the patron side of things, not as much observance of kind of like the impact that a lot of this has on staff, because we haven't, I'm a librarian and I like being a librarian, but I don't have any social work training. So I do think that that is something that we'll hopefully see a shift and a change in as well, because that there's a need there. Like I was talking to my therapist and she said that she has to go to a certain number of sessions just as like a check-in because of all the stuff that she has to help people cope with. And I never really thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense because it's like, yeah, that's needed. So yeah, it's everywhere.
Anybody have questions for Kate? Okay, seeing and hearing none. The next item on the agenda is board member reports. Do any board members have anything they'd like to report? All right, well, seeing all nods no, we'll move on to the next item. Unfinished business. The first item is the EDI organizational assessment update. Kate's going to give us updates on the upcoming Zoom meetings.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're finally there. So as a reminder, I know Jennifer has already sent this out, but we'll be meeting on Zoom on August 31st at 6 p.m. With Rashida Graham-Washington and her partner, Jamie and Barry, and they will be conducting the listening session for the board. And then directly after that, we'll be having the community listening session that will be happening. And I did put this in my report, but also wanted to do a verbal ask of if you are in any Facebook groups or in any communities that represent some of the more marginalized identities in our community, Black, Indigenous, people of color, people in the LGBTQ community, people with disabilities, immigrants, people whose native language is not English, all of those, they don't have to have all of those identities, but just if they have any of them, we would love to have them join. We do already have 8 people signed up, so that was great, that since we pushed it out last week. Sometimes, apparently she just said sometimes they only get like 1, so I think that that's really good, but since you guys are connected to different groups than we are where we pushed it, it's great to just have more pushing of it would be wonderful. And then the staff listening sessions will be taking place from August 30th to September 8th. We're doing those via Zoom and in person. So there's going to be the similar groups to the community groups, groups for staff that identify as part of the LGBTQ community, staffs that identify as BIPOC. They'll have a chance to meet with Rashida and Jamie as well. And then, as I mentioned last month, it'll be about 6 to 8 weeks after that will they compile their report and then come and present to the board. So we're hoping at the, probably not October because some of the dates had to shift a little bit, but most likely at the November board meeting.
Was that the 31st at
6?
Has there been any reach out, or is it geared exclusively to adults, or has there been any reach to high school students?
We are reaching out. I want to say, okay, I'm trying to remember what all we did now. I believe we asked our teen librarian to share it with the TAB group and with her teen volunteers, and Linda sent it to all of the schools to include in the virtual backpacker. I don't know what the high school version of that is. And then our teen librarian, because of our One Book, One Northbrook initiatives, has connections with a number of other agencies in town that she was going to push it to as well.
So it is open to?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say high school and up. Not maybe as useful for, younger kids, but yeah, definitely, because that's an audience that is, whose voice we'd love to hear.
It's an hour for each Zoom session?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 to 7 p.m. on the
6 to
31st.
7 on Zoom. So you don't have to come here. You can just stay home. You can come here if you want. We have great Wi-Fi.
And we'll post the notice and all that kind of good stuff.
Yep. Well, we've got all the notice stuff, and we're set for that.
Okay. Any other questions for Kate on EDI? All right, the next item under unfinished business is the steam boiler RFP discussion. Anna's going to share some information with us. And before Anna starts, as a related item, I've asked Kate in a future meeting to give us an update on where we stand with respect to our long-term facilities plan and how this and some other upcoming projects may fit in the plan, just so we have a refresher on what we had projected as being the specific projects in the near future.
So I had sent the report from our consultant earlier this week. The existing steam boiler was installed in 1985. The purpose of the steam boiler is to make humidity that gets dispersed throughout the building. The library's HVAC system is constantly bringing in outdoor air to keep air quality in safe ranges. That air is very dry, and the heat drives it even more. This boiler, the steam humidification boiler, makes steam to help humidity in the building, and that helps the books. So basically, it's why we need it and why we need to replace it. So we hired Color Design. We've worked with them in the past. They've worked on other projects like this, as well as a mechanical inventory for us. And based upon their plan, and this project is in the facility plan for fiscal year 24, based upon their report. It was in there for a much less amount than what they are estimating it to be right now. I didn't ask them why, but that's, it was in the plan. When Joe and I talked with them, we discussed items, and we said, costs, both the replacement of the item and the maintenance of the item, delivery lead times, energy conservation, ease of use, and life expectancy were all important to us when they were considering the options. They are recommending a fire tube non-condensing boiler over a condensing boiler. And the reason being is the cost and the maintenance on the non-condensing boiler is less. The life expectancy is higher. So in the life of the non-condensing boiler, we'd have to get almost 2 condensing boilers. And the maintenance on the condensing boilers is they would have to come out twice a year, and for the non-condensing boiler, it's once a year. So the cost of the condensing boiler is very expensive compared to the non-condensing boiler. The life expectancy, I said, is longer, and just how it fits into the space will work better. So to talk about the energy conservation piece of this, the fire tube non-condensing boiler is like 84 to 86%, I think, and the condensing one is 94 to 96. So there's like a 10% difference. But even, that benefit doesn't outweigh all the other benefits of the non-condensing boiler. I did ask the question, why do these systems lose efficiency? So our existing unit was installed in 1985, and it's running at about 73%. And it loses efficiency with the buildup of minerals that happen in the machine. And if we maintain it and we follow the manufacturer's recommendations, it'll lose efficiency maybe 10% over its life, but and both systems will lose 10% over its life. So where we're at 70 now, we're going to go back up to 85 when we get this new system, and then it'll work itself back down.
Which one was more efficient?
The condensing one.
Condensing. Okay.
Yeah, which costs much more money.
Okay.
And the lead time to get that is way out there.
You guys said 20 to 30 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
and this one we could get installed by the end of the year. So that's what I have to say.
So they're recommending the non-fire, non-condensing, whatever it was called.
Yeah, the fire tube non-condensing boiler.
Okay, so, and you said they can get it by the end of the year. So
Correct.
what is the next step in the process for us?
We need to put the RFP together, and we need to put that out to bid, and then we need to get the bids back and review them, and then we plan to bring you a contract to sign at the October meeting.
Okay. At this meeting, do you need us to approve specific actions?
No,
Just to
I mean,
make you
unless you're
aware of the
vehemently against us replacing the system, I guess. But, I mean, I'm moving forward with this, I just wanted to let you know what was happening.
No, I understand.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Right, there's nothing, I mean, we don't have to decide to go with a less expensive one or the more expensive one, or just to let us know that.
I mean, I guess unless you guys had really strong feelings about the condensing boiler, like, and you said
I
you
do.
wanted me to do that, I would change
It's
our
in good
course of
hands,
action.
Anna.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we didn't want you to be surprised when we brought the RFP to you and we're like, hey, you need to approve this really, six-figure project without being aware of what
was
it
going
was.
So, yeah, so thank you.
Due diligence. I learned a lot about boilers through this report.
So did I.
But you answered my question, which was like, why would you ever go with the more expensive one when it has like half the lifetime? But my one question was, do the fuel savings offset that? So we're pretty confident that it doesn't, right? Because it says you save steam fuel savings 20% for the condensing and 10% for the boiler. Sorry, the non-condensing. So that
Yeah, I mean,
savings does not
outweigh the
Correct.
cost, especially because the life expectancy,
yeah,
And
it's
so
like
you're gonna have to do 2 condensing to 1
Right.
non-condensing.
right. I'm like, unless this is saving like $300,000, $400,000 over 10 years, it's probably not.
And even
worth
just from an energy savings perspective, because you need to have maintenance twice a year, that means 2 times a year they're driving over here, replacing it twice over the same period. You have 2 times the construction and all of that, not just labor, but in terms of
The raw material of.
Well,
Yes.
except that the low ends are like 35,000 apart. But then, but the life expectancy is weird. That it's 10 years. So
So
I guess the math is basically saying under no circumstances is the condensing really going to save you any money. I guess my question would be, why do they sell them and why do people pick
To
those?
save energy cost, if it's better. For
I
you.
If
think
your
they're-
energy cost still doesn't pay for itself,
Right, no.
it still doesn't.
But maybe if you're a lead building,
Yes,
and
it's
you
not
need
just
to
the
have,
economy of it, I think it's
you know.
that it's, if it's
see.
a lower energy
Our
cost,
building is over
it's
half
less
the
taxing to the earth.
so.
Some people believe in being efficient no matter the cost is what the.
Thank you, Jay. That sums it up very well. I think you're right. It's just to say that but it's also that lead time of, that could really.
There'd be more significant construction to get it to fit into this building as well,
The
which,
condensing.
yeah, which I think in other situations in newer buildings, it might not be.
Yeah, it might not be the same.
Your conclusion still stands. There's no reason in this building to ever buy the.
So,
Again, I'm gonna forget everything we talked about here because I'm gonna need to know it again.
Oh, when you look
20 years, yeah, okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay.
Thank you,
Unless
Thank
there's
you,
more
Anna.
questions for Anna. Thank you, Anna.
thank you.
Look forward to hearing more about it when you get the RFP.
Yeah.
We all do.
Never. Bated
Can't
breath.
wait.
Bated breath.
All right, the next item on the agenda of old business is the salary benchmarking compensation philosophy, which is a continuation from the closed session last month. Is there a motion to go into closed session pursuant to the Illinois Statute 5 ILCS 120/2C2 for collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more class of employees?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Sharon, for the motion. Thank you, Abby, for the second. Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Grisham?
Yes.
Mr. Glovenger?
Yes.
Ms. Unical?
Yes.
Ms. Shu?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Could we please pause the live? Okay, that ends the closed session. The next item on the agenda is new business. There's none on the agenda. Is there anyone who has any items to raise for new business? Okay, seeing and hearing none. The next item on the agenda is agenda building. Included in that is a follow-up on the compensation philosophy discussion in the closed session, a possible intergovernmental agreement with the schools about student library cards, an audit presentation in either September or October from the auditors, depending upon when they are completed and ready to present. The holiday schedule for 2023 that will be approved before year end, and the one thing we all look forward to every year, the draft levy.
And we'll
Exciting.
throw some fun facilities plan stuff in there too.
Right.
I know. So you don't have
And
to-
staff
it's not-
appreciation.
Oh, and Sharon wants to add staff appreciation to, you know.
Oh, sure.
agenda.
We usually do it in October. We can.
Jay wants to.
Are we ever going to do a visit to a library?
I have it down to talk about in October, but we can talk about it in September.
Well, just because the weather.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
Try and figure out a date and a place.
Okay, I will put this on for next month.
And the other thing to keep in mind is at some point in the near future, the caucus should be reconvening. So those of us who are up for election
Who is
again,
it? You guys? You two?
Sharon, myself, Maura,
Am I? Yeah.
and Stacy,
Oh, Stacy is because she.
K-Hawk.
She filled in a
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're safe, Abby.
Abby
couple
and Jamie
years.
and I just ran.
Right. Unless anyone else has any other items to add to the agenda building, I will declare the meeting adjourned at 8:25.